So it'll be very close to getting a marrow edge without having a marrow machine. The only other thing that we need is some vinyl. I have some of this holographic stuff that I have laying around from my old shop. I think I picked this up off of eBay. Maybe you have a whole stockpile of wood grain vinyl that you've had sitting on your shelf for years. So I don't know, maybe find a Woody Wagon Car Club or something like that needs some patches and use up that ugly vinyl. So the next thing that we'll need is just some twill. You can get this at Joann Fabrics, whatever kind of fabric store you have in your area. Just some standard cotton twill is what I got here. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of what we need to do. I have my heat press set up at 350 degrees and about 25 seconds on there, but we're going to want to hit it for 50 seconds, so I'll be pressing it a couple times. The vinyl that you have may be different. You'll have to look into the manufacturer and see how that is to transfer onto some twill. This stuff, like I said, works really great for those kind of unique one-off patches. You could put heat seal backing on these and put them to hats. You could just sell them as patches to your customer, whatever you want to do. So first step is I'm going to take my cutout holographic vinyl here. I'm going to take my twill and I'm going to slap that right on top of my twill, and I'm going to slap it into my heat press. And like I said, I'm going to hit this for about a minute. The stuff that you have may be different timing. So I'm using the instant heat press. We have these on Shop Melco. We also have Hotronix Fusions. Both very great heat presses. So anything that you have laying around will work. I highly suggest getting a really nice heat press. So I'm going to hit this twice, and then from there we'll take it over to the machine, and I'll kind of give you a rundown on how to get these patches going. We won't run the whole patch because that'll take a little bit of time, but I'll give you the whole general steps so that you guys can do this in your shop. So I'm just going to hit this for a little bit longer here. Get the timer going again. So this Badge Master stuff, really great. Madeira sells this. They come in big old giant rolls. You could also use some of like Grandma's vinyl that she uses to cover her couch. That works out well. I've used that before. I just really prefer this Madeira Badge Master. It is really, really solid stuff and a really great company to work with. Plus you're probably already running their threads. So one-stop shop, not bad at all. So from here you can see I have my vinyl set to my my twill there. We're not going to run that one. I already have one hooped up over here. So our first step is we're going to do just a placement stitch kind of. So I'm going to have it do a run stitch around here. I'm going to take this out of the hoop and then we're going to cut it. So I'm going to let this run really quick. Should not take much time at all. I created these patches in Design Shop. Samantha did a really, really great video on how to do this. We'll link that down below. You guys can follow those steps, learn how to make custom patches, and go from there. So I'm going to let this run for a minute. So right now, it's just doing that quick run stitch so I know where to cut this out for the applique. This is pretty much just like running any kind of applique, tackle twill, like you do for baseball jerseys, anything like that. Fairly simple thing to do. That's almost done here. Alright, I have a hold in my design file so I can pull this out. And you can see now we have that run stitch around there. So I'm going to cut this out. So I'm going to pull it out of my hoop. And I'm using the 5.5 Mighty hoops. If I was to do this in a big run, I would use a bigger hoop and just kind of rock these all out at once and then cut them all out at once. So when I'm cutting these out, I like to go just to the outside of my stitch here. So I don't want to go on all the way. I have two pieces of cutaway backing in here. I like a nice stiff patch. You know, sometimes you get those custom patches and they're just so floppy and the customer, it just doesn't look very good. So we're going to cut this out real quick. And I'm just cutting right to the outside of my stitches there. Pretty boring thing to watch on video. If you have a hot knife, you could use that. If you have a big fancy laser, you could stack all of these in your laser and set up a cut file to go right around them. That's probably the quickest method, and if you have another way that you're doing this in your shop and you have a better some tips and tricks, let us know down below. I'm always excited to see what everybody else is doing. So from there, I got my patch cut out. I still have my backing on here since I didn't cut out all those stitches, so this is nice and solid. You can see it's not floppy. I'm going to hoop up some of this Badge Master real quick. I just got a sheet cut out here. I'm going to throw it in my hoop. Just give me 1 second and I will get that hooped up. Just got that hooped right up here in the hoop. Slap it into my machine. And from there, it's going to do another placement stitch, so I'm going to let that run real quick. Now, while that's running, what I'm going to do is I have a box here, and I have some of the Madeira spray tack. So we're going to use this just to adhere our patch to the placement stitch on the Badge Master. So I'm going to take my patch, I'm going to go on the backing, I'm going to put this in my box real quick so I don't get spray tack all over the place, because that stuff, do not spray it on your machine. That stuff does not come out and it gets on everything. So just a quick tack right there. I'll pull my patch out. And right now I have my machine set up to applique, so as you can see it pulled the pantograph out, so I'm able to easily place my patch on there. So I'm going to stick it right down here on the placement stitch. Let me grab this real quick so you can see. There's my placement stitch, and I'm just going to set this patch right on that placement stitch right there. From there, it's going to do a zigzag, and it's going to knock that patch down, and then it's going to sew out the rest of their design. So we don't need to sew out the rest of our design because that's going to take a lot of time. I have one done. So your finished product is going to look like this. So I got a nice hibiscus flower on there on that holographic. All you have to do at this point with that nice satin border and that Madeira Badge Master, you just pop this out. And then you have a nice satin border around your patches. So you can see that goes all the way through. This is the closest you're going to get to a nice marrowed edge patch without having to have a marrow machine. And those are like $3,000 or something like that. So really good option. Good way to create custom patches. Applique patches, really simple. You can use, like I said, any kind of vinyl that you have laying around. You could take some dye sub fabric too, and you could lay that on there. Maybe we'll do another video on that. And yeah, you got a nice patch. From here you can put some heat seal backing on there. Do whatever you want with it. So really quick, really easy, really nice thing to do. So all you need is a nice EMT 16X, a heat press, some custom vinyl, and that Badge Master, and you are Patches O'Houlihan. You're in the patch business. So